Caleb Wilson and Darryn Peterson matched up over the weekend, and they did not disappoint. We'll tell you why these are two of the best prospects in the 2026 NBA draft and could really shake things up towards the top of the draft. Next on Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings.
You are Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, your daily podcast on the future stars of the NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. My name is Tyler Metcalf. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, as always, is my co-host Tyler Rucker. Rucker, on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to overreact to some early season games?
I'm not giving a number because it's that excited. About 50. I don't care. Are you not entertained, basketball fans? Draft season. We said this is going to be a special one, Metcalf. It is living up to the hype and more. So, 12. 12. There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to take the opposite approach. I'm saying a 1 because I don't think these are overreactions. I think this we're just early to the party. We got a really fun episode, and throughout this week, we're doing a really fun group project, I guess you could classify it as. We're doing a mock draft throughout the draft channel here, where we're doing 6 picks a day. So you're getting a whole lot of bonus episodes from us. But Monday, Rucker and I will be doing starting off the mock draft picks 1 through 6. Tuesday, 7 through 12, so on and so forth. And all of us are going to be making our own individual picks. And we thought it'd be a really fun exercise to provide some different viewpoints and really treat it as a potential way of how a draft could get weird by all it takes is one team and one weird pick and one potential reach to really shake things up. So if you're randomly getting episodes that are mock draft episodes and you're like, where was this other episode that they were talking about? Just check your feed. It's probably there too. Just, making sure that you don't miss all of our really fun content this week. Should be a fun one, but we got to start out. We had a huge big time matchup between Kansas, North Carolina on Friday night. North Carolina ended up pulling away, winning 87-74. So to the victor go the spoils. That means we're starting out with Caleb Wilson, 6'10" freshman, who had himself a night against Kansas. Walked away with 24 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 1 turnover, 9 of 12 shooting on the floor overall. Is he the clear-cut 4th best guy in this class right now?
I mean, I think the opinions are going to change drastically compared to like whoever you ask. But for me, yes. Yeah. I think for me, it is an emphatic yes right now. And there's going to be a lot of Koa Pete faithful that really passionately want you to remember that there's Koa Pete out there. And I love all of you guys. I know about Koa Pete. Thank you. So I got a lot of those comments, but look, Caleb has a lot of tools that you can't teach and a lot of gifts with his game that are God-given ability. And it starts on the defensive side of the ball for me when I'm so impressed by him. And I thought this was the type of version of Caleb Wilson Metcalf we were going to be getting at the second half of the season after we got a couple months into the year and how good he's looked. And the fact that he's doing it right now against a team like Kansas, this second game of the year officially. And I know, hey, we had the exhibitions and stuff, but he has been so impressive. And, we came into the year worried about his outside shot, but I haven't had to worry about it because he's just been so dominant in other areas. So that just screams more impressive to me. So right now, he's 4th for me, and it's pretty emphatically 4th, and it's getting into a dangerous world 4th where you're like, but what about could we get up into that top 3? Because it's just how impressive he's been and how much potential he has with this game.
Yeah, and on my Friday scouting notes over at NoCeilingsNBA.com, I have a little bit of fun intel on that potential top 3. So make sure to go check that out on Friday. But the way he plays is exactly what you want from a guy his size at his position. I would love it if he was a flamethrower from outside. But the more I watch, going back to his high school stuff even, and now that it's really immediately translating to college against big time matchups. Kansas isn't a pushover. They're not my favorite team, but they got talent. They got size. They have athleticism. And the fact that it's immediately translating for him is so encouraging because yeah, an outside shot would be great, but he's proving he doesn't need it because he's so effective and dynamic getting to the rim, whether it's off ball, whether it's quick, decisive drives from the perimeter. And he had this one drive that I absolutely loved, where his early offense catches it at the top of the arc, just immediate catch, jab step, drive to his right, and that just decisiveness keeps defenders on their heels, and they don't know how to react to it because their initial instinct is to take that half step, full step, to close out, put a hand up, not give a guy a clean look. And if he's immediately countering on just that natural instinct of these defenders, very few people are as big and as athletic as he is. So he's so effortlessly getting to the rim. And then you factor in the passing stuff from a connective standpoint, where he's finding cutters and rollers and rim runners, and then also offensive rebounding. And it's like, I think there are more than enough ancillary complementary offensive skills here to really mask over the fact that he doesn't have an outside jumper at all right now.
Yeah, and he hasn't had to really rely upon it because he's been able to work it down low, be around the basket, be active. This is one of those guys that and we always joke like, hey, if he is actually 6'10", let's just say he is, and the team website listing doesn't lie for once, because we always say that every year. If he's 6'10", this is what you dream of with the athletic, lengthy, big, and I'm just saying jumbo-sized forward, where you're like, hey, can we get one that is nasty around the basket and also just plays with his hair on fire and seems like the motor's always on high? And that's what Caleb Wilson's been.
Yeah,
the intensity has been awesome. You can see it's also on the defensive side of the ball, or like, he could force a turnover and he's just going crazy with the crowd and screaming. And you're like, that's a winning player you gravitate towards. That's what you want. And that's why so many right now are like, yeah, you put him top 4, top 5, because 6'10" with the high motor on both sides. And then he's just this type of guy where you have to always be aware of him. One of the first sequences of the game, no one boxes him out. He goes down and throws a monster tip dunk in. He's just a nasty player, and in a positive way. I mean, in the best way possible, but he's nasty, and there's so much with his game that is still scratching the surface.
And just the way that he finds cutters, relocates on offensive rebounds to put himself in a better position, rotates on defense, does the little things. It's like, oh, he's not just an athlete. Like there's a lot of really high level processing stuff going on there too, with how he's seeing the floor, how he's anticipating where the ball's going to go, what the opposing team's going to do, and how he can proactively counter and manipulate that. So I know with a lot of these guys who are, just freak run and jump athletes, the initial instinct is like, yeah, he's an awesome athlete, but like, can he do the little things? Or is he just an athlete? And, for a lot of guys, that gets you to a certain point, and then it's tough to break through. But the real special ones, it's like, no, he's an athlete or no, he's a basketball player and a freak athlete. And I think we're really rapidly seeing more and more of that chaos in Caleb Wilson's game rapidly refine into just winning basketball.
That's the best part about it, is I think coming into this year, me and you had, done a lot of on the other No Ceilings, YouTube channel. We have been doing some breakdowns of Caleb Wilson and talking about like, hey, look at the inconsistency, but look at how special this upside is, and look at when it's at its top, look at how just incredible it is. Now we're getting it way more consistently. So that's why we also say like, hey, be patient with these kids, let them develop. Let them get some time. Let them get some experience under the belts. And, we came into this game talking about Darryn Peterson and left it going, oh my gosh, Caleb Wilson has arrived. We thought he was arriving, but this is a loud statement. And hey, this was the Caleb Wilson versus Darryn Peterson showdown. And we were hoping that, Caleb was going to look as good as possible, but he looked tremendous. And it was hey, did you see Caleb Wilson? Did you see how good he looked? That was the story after this game.
Before we move off North Carolina, I also want to give a quick shout out to Henry Vasar, who I thought looked phenomenal. The play finishing versatility was tremendous. I had a couple Arizona fans getting in my mentions, being like, "Well, if you watched him last year, this is what he did." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I did watch him last year. Thank you."
It was me. That was me.
Yeah, that guy you're referencing, that was me. Who was the conductor of his hype train all last year. but now he's doing it with a minute share that's like 25% higher. So the fact that he's maintaining that, it's like, okay, so what we saw last year was real. Sure, he needs to get a little stronger, he needs to be a little better on the defensive boards, but he's also a monster on the offensive boards. The outside shot looks phenomenal. And I love how they incorporated his passing from the top of the key and also used him as that floor spacer and pick and pop spot up situations in the first half, which then drew guys like Flory Badunga out more on the perimeter in the second half, which then led to him slipping more screens and rim running for easy dunks in the second half, which is when they pulled away. So incredible game for Caleb Wilson, but I thought Henry Vassar was just as impressive, just in a different way.
I went into this game thinking, we were going to talk about the best prospects. Obviously, they were going to get all the spotlight and well-deserved so when it came to Caleb Wilson and Darryn Peterson. But I thought this was a gigantic game for the bigs on both sides. For Vassar going up against, Flory Badunga and Bryson Tiller. I thought it was like, hey, this is a game for those bigs to make a little bit of a statement. When it came to one, just in general, but most importantly, we're talking about the draft stock. Like Vassar was someone I thought he could have been a first rounder last year. And then when he quickly decided to go back, I was like, smart. And it was really impressive game for him. Like he did a lot of great stuff, had a couple of nice pick and pop moments. And then, some playmaking toughness. I thought he was tremendous. I thought he had a great game. And I thought Caleb did too, obviously.
Well, someone else who had a pretty incredible game as well was Darryn Peterson, who we'll get to right after this quick break. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every game. Every game and every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that what you see is what you pay. No hidden fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Darryn Peterson on the losing end of this game, but I came away really impressed. Like I didn't come away from this game with really any concerns about his game. I thought he looked every bit the part of a number one pick, even though they lost, but he walked away with 22 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers, 8 of 14 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3. Thoughts on Darryn?
He looked great. It was tough because it was North Carolina looked fantastic, and you would probably watch the game flow and be like, oh, Darryn's having a rough game, and then you look down and you're like, he's still been fantastic. And it wasn't just that, but then he starts making a couple plays and you're just like, gosh, Darryn just reminds you play by play just how good and special he is. So I didn't have much concerns coming from this. It was, I left this game with more of team concerns, not prospect concerns. I had more concerns about Kansas leaving this game because I don't want to go too deep down that rabbit hole. Jayhawk fans will come after me, but like the transition defense was a nightmare. Communication with some of the defense with especially some of the bigs was just disastrous. But when we're talking about just Darryn, I think you still saw the competitiveness, the composure at a lot of times. I still think he's the guy that we're all wanting him to be. He keeps delivering.
Yeah, and I will gladly tear into the team at large here in a couple minutes, and Jayhawk fans can send their angry replies to me at Tyler_Rucker.
Don't do it. That's the best joke. Don't do it.
It works more when I do it. But sticking with Darryn, I thought he looked incredible. And the off ball shooting, the off ball creation, the nuance with his, how he runs off screens and loses his defender and constantly puts defenders on their heels, whether he's on ball, off ball, whatever he's doing. It always looks effortless. It always looks really composed and mature, which it shouldn't be for someone his age, and yet it does all the time, regardless of what role they're asking him to play. It always seems like he's like, all right, cool, I'll go be the best at that role. It's like, oh, you want me to go lock down on defense? Cool, I'll go do that. You want me to go knock down movement threes off the catch? Cool, I'll go do that. Oh, I get to run the show on offense now? Cool, let's climb back into this game and try and make a contest of it. I'll go do that as well. I thought he looked really, really fun. They were using him, now pivoting a little more into the team context stuff, they were using him mostly as a true shooting guard, which personally I still think, despite what he played in high school, I still think he's a shooting guard in the NBA.
He is.
I'm not saying take the ball out of his hands and, play him like a JJ Redick shooting guard, but play him like a Kobe Bryant, a Devin Booker, an Anthony Edwards type of shooting guard, where there's still that primary creator, there's still that number one offensive option, but they still have a floor general, a table setter, a actual point guard playing next to him, because I think that at his core is where you get the most out of him, and then you still get the playmaking as that second side guy. The problem with that approach, I like that Kansas did it. The problem, though, they don't have that point guard on the team. So if they're looking to win games and get the most out of this team, they really have to throw him into more of that on-ball role. Primary decision maker, primary creator, primary initiator. He's going to have a bonkers usage rate, because I don't think against the top competition, they have anyone else on this team who can really consistently get the offense flowing.
Yeah, he's not a point guard. Never ever saw.
In college, he could be, though.
He could be. I think it would be a disaster. I mean this in the best way. Darryn could easily be a point guard. It will be a disaster if they primarily put him at a point guard all the time, because they will put so much mileage on him so fast.
But that's what I'm saying. I think if they want to win games,
they're going to have to.
Exactly.
They're going to have to. So it's a scary point. It's something where I'm like, hey, and everyone's like, well, he's young, he's fine, he's a teenager, he'll be fine. It's like, yeah, but you're going to put a lot of mileage on a kid. You're going to put a lot of stuff on a kid early in the year, because you watch this North Carolina game especially, and you quickly find out, like, Darryn has to be magnificent for them to have a shot. Like, they don't have a lot of bucket getting guys. They have a lot of good specialists right now with some upside. Rosario's a talented player. He's not going to be a guy that's getting you 25. Badunga's an energy big that's you're hoping is keeping simple. He's not going to be a feed him in the post. Taylor was great this game. He made a bunch of big shots in the first half, defense in the second half. So Darryn has to be tremendous, and guys have to step up. So it's going to be a tough one, but I think Darryn was great in this game at playing a wide range of roles. Mm-hmm. But I'm with you. He's an off-ball guard to me. He's a shooting guard. He is the true shooting guard, like the big names you just mentioned. Yeah. That's the type of category or conversation I keep him in with those big names. But now it's like, well, yeah, those guys still, you give them the ball and let them run the show, right, or you're trying to create for them with the ball in their hands. So I don't know, but it's going to be really interesting to see what this Kansas team does, and what Darryn's role is kind of the rest of the year, because obviously you got a sports car in your garage. You're trying to figure out any way to get it out of the garage and use it as much as possible. So I don't know. It was just fascinating to kind of see how good he still was, and how the team was just kind of a little all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm really fascinated to see how they adjust lineup schematics, right, just execution in these next couple of games, because next up they have Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That should be a 1,000-point win. No offense to Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
Yeah,
and then after
me pissed,
and then after that they have Princeton, which they're always a well-coached team, but that should be another easy win. And it's like, all right, is Kansas going to use this opportunity to try and get guys like Elmarco Jackson and Melvin Council more comfortable with that point guard role, or are they going to use these games as like, hey, we got to pivot and we got to get Darryn running the show here? Because after Princeton, they have Duke, Notre Dame, Syracuse, UConn, Missouri, NC State. That is a brutal stretch of games, and it's going to be even more brutal if you're trying to figure out who's running the offense. So I'm fascinated to see, all right, what is their focus these next couple of weeks going to be in terms of adjusting from this North Carolina game? And is it, all right, we got to figure out who's running the offense, or we just have to totally overhaul our defense? Because I thought they were a disaster on that end of the floor.
Look, I think it might be controversial, but if you make him your point guard, I think if I was prepping for a team, like I had the scout, I'm prepping how to take out a guy like defensively, I'd feel good about having to stop a point guard. If I had to worry about a guy off the ball and everything, I'd probably be like, okay, that might be a little tough, because if he could be a catch and shoot guy, we could do everything to slow him down, but he could still get open. With the ball, you could send doubles right away when he gets out half court. Just get the ball out of his hands. Like,
yeah, but you can do the same thing off ball, where you just play really aggressive ball denial and you just switch everything on screens and make sure your rim protector just basically shades towards whatever side of the floor he's on.
You're right. You're right.
Where it's like,
it's just,
and it's not going to be like, if you make him play point and initiate, it's not going to be easy on him. Like,
no, I mean, you pick him up full court, you make him work. Like, that's what I'm saying. You're putting miles on, because you're, and hey,
there's no easy answer. Yeah,
there's no easy answer, but Darryn would be fine. But it just seems like if your answer is, well, we don't have the firepower, let's just give him way more responsibilities. It's like, gosh, man, just don't put too much on too early. I get if you're getting to the tournament time and you're like, hey, we need Darryn to have the ball all the time. That's fine. Like, I get it. That's a good coach adjustment. Like, the best player in the country, we need him to give the ball all the time. But right now, it just seems like you're asking a lot out of the gate. I think these are big games coming up, Metcalf, for like adjust, figure out. This is get some answers quick. And Bill Self knows this.
Yeah. And I don't expect them to be like, hey, Darryn, here's the ball. Go do whatever you want. That'd be the total antithesis of every Bill Self team ever. That's not how they play. I really hope they're like, all right, guys, all we're doing for the next 3 weeks is figuring out how to defend, because they were a disaster on that end of the floor. I thought Cole Rosario was lost. Flory Badungo was totally confused with how to deal with Vesar's inside out play finishing style. Trey White was lost. Darryn Peterson, I thought he was the best with communicating and making rotations, but he still had some major lapses where it didn't work. No one on that team looked like they had any idea what the scheme was, what the execution was. And outside of Darryn, I was really disappointed with a lot of the other draft prospects, unfortunately.
Whenever you watch a game and you're like, why isn't the coach taking a timeout after just like a defensive miscommunication? And then you're like, this might be a coaching moment right here, where they're kind of like, no, he's like, no, you guys figure it out. They had a couple where it was just like 3 guys in transition guarding 1 guy. Yeah. And it's just a wide open 3 for North Carolina. And I feel like after the ball goes in, you see the guys kind of look over to the coach and nothing happens. And they're like, uh-oh. He's telling us, he's sending us a message. So he's sending us a message of like, no, I'm not saving you. You figure it out. So I think Bill will figure it out. It was the first time in a while I've slowed down and rewound like multiple defensive transition sequences, because I was like, they're lost. They're just all over the place. Guys are guessing. There's no talking.
Some are trying to communicate. Others are totally ignoring it. Or, it was a mess.
If anything, if you're a Kansas fan, I think you left that feeling better, because you're like, everything went wrong for us. Yeah. Peterson had a beautiful block, tried to save it inbounds. He threw a bullet pass to Caleb Wilson for an easy dunk. It was just one of those nights. The ball doesn't fall. So
he didn't get the assist. God,
didn't get the assist. Brutal. Give him a half. Let's make that a thing. So, hey, it was a fun prospect game, but it's also a reminder of this is why it's the beginning of the year, is you learn and adjust and see how these guys do respond, the players and, the prospects, see what their role is going to be changing into moving forward.
All right, well, Caleb Wilson and Darryn Peterson left us really impressed, but they weren't the only ones over the weekend. Next up, best thing we saw recently. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Rucker, best thing we saw recently in the basketball world. This could be anything from social to college to NBA draft specific to the NBA to your local pickup game. I'm going to go first because I'm selfish. This was a guy who I was a little skeptical coming into the year on. I wasn't out. I wasn't in. I was just in wait and see mode. And I'm done with being patient after 2 games. Neo Avdilas looks like a top 10 pick. 6'9", 215-pound wing guard, whatever you want to classify him as. Freshman at Virginia Tech, was playing over in Greece last year. He was incredible against Providence. I did a full breakdown over on the No Ceilings YouTube channel. But it was step back threes. It was crafty stuff in the mid range. It was crafty stuff out of the pick and roll, pushing in transition, playing good defense, rebounding, passing, everything that you wanted to see from him. He did. He looked insane against Providence.
Yeah, that name's going to be very, very popular on draft boards, and he's going to be going up in a hurry. So if you haven't, get familiar with that one. Go check out Metcalf's breakdown. Yeah, ridiculous numbers. I'm gonna go with a returner that made his season debut. I'm gonna go over to Texas Tech. JT Toppin, welcome back to college basketball. 31, 14, 4, 3, and 1 block. Just another day in the office. Hey, this is my guy that I keep going to bat for, because JT Toppin might not be a top 10 pick, or he might not have the most upside in the world, but my man is a box score villain. He just produces. So Texas Tech 2-0, they're looking pretty good with Christian Anderson and JT Toppin, and then the roster's obviously going to be fun. So that's the best thing I've seen. Welcome back, JT.
It's insane, like how freakish numbers he constantly puts up year after year after year, and everyone's always like, yeah, good, maybe top 40.
It's the Jokic effect in the NBA when you just look and you're like, oh, Jokic did good tonight, 15, 15, and 15. Like he
just did another thing that no one else has ever done in the history of the game. Good for him. What was that, like the 85th time he's done that? Oh, that's neat.
It's my favorite when he has that and you're like, oh, and he didn't play the 4th quarter. I forgot.
Like, oh, they won by 40.
And they won by 40. So yeah, I mean, look, those guys are fun, and I feel like we take them for granted, and especially when they're prospects too. I feel like we always just take it and we're like, yeah, whatever. And it's like, they might be telling us something when they're just productive and know their role, and
being consistent is a huge skill. And so, just real quick, what does he have to do to like realistically, legitimately be a first-round guy? Because the numbers all say he is. I get that he's kind of an undersized tweener big man, now an upperclassman, but he's just dominant.
I think you're wanting to see if he can be.
Oh, is it just
the 3-point shot? Well, no, I mean, here's my point. I think most people would want to see like mid 30% from 3. Like, can he be a floor spacer on higher volume? And I get to the argument of like, why do we care?
Yeah,
because you're drafting JT Toppin for what he does of rebounding and his role. He knows how to play effective basketball around the basket and be a garbage man at the best possible role of like, just get the shot up, I'll go get it. Why do we have to try to be like, but what can he add this to? It's like, but just go get him. Just draft JT Toppin and be very happy with that. He's going to be really good at his role. If you get anything else, it's a bonus. So that's where I'm at with him always. And the problem is, in the stacked draft class, where do you take that?
Exactly.
And that's the tough part.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up there. Really busy, really fun week on the feed. Make sure you don't miss anything, including our mock draft episodes that will be going up every single day. But until then, he's Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at TMetcalf11. You can find all of our stuff on the Lockdown NBA Draft podcast with No Ceilings feed on YouTube, No Ceilings YouTube, NoCeilingsNBA.com. We're everywhere. You'll find us. But thank you for making us thank you for listening to Lockdown NBA Draft with No Ceilings and making us your first listen every day.